Welcome back on the AM show. Let's talk personal branding now. Of course, some give pride of place to it, but the question is, does appearance matter? Does how you dress for an event matter? And should we really judge people based on how they appear, how they are dressed? Of course, we'd love to hear from you on this discussion. We all go for those crucial interviews. We all go to the bank. We all do all of those things. But sometimes we're judged based on how we appear. Question is, should that be the case? How should we address this? We'd love to hear from you. The number to call 0302 211 961 extension 2. Audience interaction, of course, we'd love to hear from you. So do call that number 0302 211 691 extension 2. 0302 211 691 extension 2. You can reach out to us on that number. So here's what I'm going to do to set the tone for this conversation. 2 stories, actually, and they are all real. The first one actually happened yesterday, and I was speaking with my producer. I was actually out and about with Echo, my producer, and we interacted with this mechanic for a different reason. But he shared with us a story of how he had gone to this bank. I'll not mention the name of the bank, to cash out money. He was dressed like, an ordinary mechanic would be in his overalls and everything. He was going to cash out 5,000 cedis. The next thing he heard the cashier, whispering to another colleague was, "Oh, look at him. Do you think he could be the one?" And the next thing was, "Should I pay the money to him?" Eventually, they paid him the money. The next day, he came to them again, this time dressed more plushly. He wanted 8,000 cedis. No questions were asked, and he gave them the blasting of a lifetime. Blasting in quote, of course. So the question is, why do we assess people based on how they are dressed? We tend to do that a lot. I'll share with you the second story, but before that, let's take Dorcas, who joins us from Obuasi. Dorcas, good morning. Hello, Dorcas. We appear to have lost Dorcas. Dorcas, if you're listening to me, do call in again, 0302 211 691 extension 2. We'd love to hear from you. Before I introduce the guest we're having, I'll also share this personal encounter with you. Many years ago during my undergraduate studies, I wanted to join the editorial board of a magazine that was going to be published. I applied and everything. When I went for the interview, I felt, well, it's a church thing and all of that. I went in my African print, sandals and everything. Guess what? Some people were complaining why I wasn't in a suit and everything. And I thought to myself, wait, I'm here to be on an editorial board and you want me to be in a suit and all of that? Eventually, I didn't get picked. Later, they heard about my writing prowess, and that was how I was brought into the committee. Why do we do that? Why do we judge based on that? We have Max in Hohoi. Max, thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. What is your take on this? Should we be assessing people based on appearance?
Definitely not. We shouldn't be assessing people based on appearance. But it's normal human nature, and because of that, we do all the time.
Do you do it?
Personally, I don't. I'm a medic. And I have a personal experience with something like this. I saw a client one time whilst I was still working at Tema, and because of the way I was dressed, after I did everything for the client resorted, so please, when am I seeing the doctor?
I see.
I noticed that it was mainly because of the way I looked at the person at that particular moment in time.
Wow.
And since that time, I made a point that I really look at the position I'm playing at whatever particular point in time.
Wait, so you're a medical doctor?
Yes.
And the person did not think you were a medical doctor because of how you were dressed?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing, Max. Interesting. We have Haruna from Asante Achim North. Good morning, Haruna.
Yeah, good morning.
Great.
Please.
What is your take?
Frankly speaking, branding, it really matters when it comes to branding, in a sense that the moment you approach someone, the first thing the person look at is your top and down. After that, whatever word now comes from you, would depend on the appearance the person sees you.
Okay.
That will not tell the kind of response will be given to you. So, frankly speaking, branding really matters when it comes to human relationship and then any other field that you can think of.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll be moving on shortly. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Anything that might not be part of branding?
Go ahead.
All right.
Just make it a bit brief. That's all.
Okay. But frankly speaking, the country nowadays is facing a lot of problems. We all the youth in this country, we have to bring our attention to it and see how we can solve this, canker amicably. If not that, you can imagine our children, let's say our grandchildren, how they are going to face. If our parents were to, treat this country like this, how will we get even water to drink today? So it means that we also have the duty of preserving this country for our generation to come.
Okay.
Our next generation to come. So please, let's all come together and see what we can do. People have been cursing this and Chene Jonas or who what's the name in that
all right.
USA.
So point well made there. We're all involved, and I like the nationalistic feel you brought to that end. But let's stay focused. It's okay if you digress a bit, but let's stay focused on the topic. We're talking about appearance and whether it really matters. Should we make so much out of it? We have Ben in Nungwa, but before we take Ben from Nungwa, let me just mention that right after this, we're going to be interacting with Yvonne Owi McCarthy, who is a customer service consultant and advocate. She's president of the Institute of Customer Service Professionals and board chair of the West African Association of Customer Service Professionals. We'll be getting more insight into this whole bit about customer service, because that is one aspect of it, and branding. But before that, let's quickly look at Ben from Nungwa. Ben, good morning. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Oh, I like that voice. Good. Ben, what is your take? Does appearance matter? Should we pay so much attention to it?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead, Ben.
I think, it really matters. Because your appearance counts. Do you think, let's say, the United States president appearing in T-shirt and a knicker, do you think we're gonna give them, or we're gonna give him the due respect, or can anybody just go before the king presence with just any dress? So when you dress properly, you're gonna get the due and the necessary attention that you want. So attention really, really matters.
Okay. All right. Point well made. Do we have James from Axim? We don't have James from Axim. Let me quickly move on to Yvonne Owi McCarthy, customer service and brands expert. And intermittently, we'll be taking some of your calls to find out what you think. Now, don't make a mistake. Don't you think that we're saying it doesn't matter, but how much should it matter? I mean, I've heard of in-laws and all of that who have had, their sons, daughters-in-law to be, who have come to them and basically they assessed them, scanned them, and maybe the dressing was not what they expected, and that was it. They wrote them off. So to what extent should appearance matter? That's the whole point. To what extent? It doesn't mean just go out there and kempt and all of that, but to what extent, what premium should we place on this? Right. Wow. Okay, so we'll do these two before we go to Yvonne. Matilda in Cape Coast, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Refreshing to hear from you. What do you think? How much importance should we place on appearance?
Yeah, please, I want to speak in Fancy.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. More for the baby, even if for bank, even in Texas. If you are what share, but table, what share suit I share, what your color is back, and even one more baby crump that's now. Into the mouth, no, what could do, and it's so bad. It's the marginal pay promotion and more address. The man equal churches, equal banks, baby, the more honor. One should not do my man, may I say.
Yes, yeah, no, I say. That's Matilda and Keiko. And she was basically saying, especially when you go to the banks, you see this, they're looking at the belt, the buckle you're wearing, the suit you're wearing, and all of that. And based on that, they assess you and treat you a certain way. And that is not supposed to be. That's basically her point. Amo is in Mamobi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother. Please, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Hope you are too.
I'm doing well too. You see, this morning, the moment I turned on my television, you were just hosting this program, and I'm very, very happy.
Great.
You see, it depends. That's why you shouldn't generalize it. It depends. If James advertises a newscaster right now, and I just dress like a charcoal seller, you see, you wouldn't appreciate that. So it's a fact. You have to usually generalize that dressing doesn't count. But there was a time I bought a taxi and I was in suit. There was an old man sitting in front of where the driver, you see, in front of the car. The moment he saw me in suit, the man just stood from the place and said, "Oh yes, sir, please come and sit." I said, "Oh sir, please, I'm just an ordinary teacher. You see, you can't give me what do you call it? Your age. You see, I have to respect you." So, what I'm saying is that Ghana here, the moment they see you as a rich person and you doesn't dress an expensive thing, that is when they will say, "Hey, rich man, or dress ordinary." But if you are an ordinary person and you dress ordinary, you put on an ordinary dressing, that is when people will tag you to be something. So you shouldn't generalize that dressing doesn't count. In fact, it counts. It should be, if you are going for an official interview or something, you have to, dress well, you have to appear well. So that is my little...
Thank you so much, Amo, for sharing. We're very grateful. We'll wrap up for this belt with Cuthbert in Kumasi. Cuthbert, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm well. I hope you are too.
All right. Dressing matters, like appearance matters a lot. Okay. It matters a lot. But we the officers like this, if you dress shabbily to work, your superior will punish you for dressing shabbily. You have to dress well so that you gain respect from your colleagues. Then be a set to some people who don't dress well, so that when they see, they respect you.
Okay.
Give you the maximum respect. So whatever you do that day, you see that you will feel happy in you. They don't harass you. If you are late and it's dressed well, that if you explain it more, your boss will understand. By dressing shabbily, when you come, you are late, you'll be punished. So please, you should all dress well. Appearance is very well, and it's very crucial in our life. Thank you.
Thank you, Cuthbert from Kumasi. Thank you all who have called into the program. Now, let's get the viewpoint of an expert in this field, a customer service and brands expert. Yvonne McCarthy joins the conversation. Good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Benjamin.
It's a pleasure hearing your voice and having you join the conversation. And our apologies for keeping you on for so long. But I'm sure, having listened to the different perspectives from the people who have called, and maybe the initial story about the mechanic that I shared with you, how much of a premium do you feel we should be placing on appearance? Do we have Yvonne?
Thank you so much, Benjamin, and good morning to all our viewers. I think, yes, hello, Benjamin?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Great, thank you. So I think it depends on where you're standing. One of your callers actually did mention that it's important. Now, there are two things.
Okay, so we're facing some technical hitches, some challenges in there with Yvonne Owi McCarthy, who is actually a brands and, customer service expert. She is known in this field, not only in Ghana, across the continent, and she is one of those phenomenal women blazing the trail when it comes to customer service and branding, especially here in West Africa. We're trying to get her back via Zoom, and if not, maybe via the phone lines, as we interact with her on just how much of a premium, just how much importance we should put on dressing, appearance, and all of that. It's not to say you should appear anyhow, anywhere. Look at me, I'm not just appearing anyhow. Even on a Friday when I've dressed down, I'm looking a bit, you get it. It must be smart casual, if you like. But the point is, like I shared with that mechanic's story, we go to certain places and sometimes people are profiling you, so to speak, trying to find out whether they should treat you this way or that, merely because of how you appear. And that's the problem. Yvonne, thank you for staying with us. Do we have Yvonne McCarthy? So we'll get Yvonne McCarthy back, but that's the question we're posing. And maybe after interacting with her, if we still have more time, we'll activate the lines again to hear from you, because it's happening. Look, I've heard stories of people saying that I went to pay a visit, first visit to my in-laws, and I didn't feel it was necessary to be all dressy and all of that. You know what? Because of that, they counseled the woman that I wasn't fit for her. And it's not that I'm poor or anything. It's just that, well, I didn't feel like dressing up too much, so I went simply, and this is what happened. Where do we draw the line? Yvonne McCarthy is back with us. Hello?
Hello.
Great. All right, so we can proceed from here. You were making a point out. Go back to the point you were making, because we lost out from the start.
Yes, so Benjamin, as I was saying before, I think one of your listeners actually did say that it matters what you wear. You need to look at this, objectively. So if you are the one going for an interview, then you have that responsibility to have done some research on the panel or the people that are going to interview you, just so that you have an idea as to what to wear.
Right.
We're not saying that people should judge you or keep you from getting the jobs that you want. However, people are people, and people have the right to form their own opinions about you and build perceptions about who you are. So that's where the branding issue comes in. Okay. In the case of the mechanic, and that's where I would hit on a bit more, it's both a branding issue and a service issue. First off, as a customer service representative or as a cashier or as an employee of an organization that decided to go into contract or business with a customer, you are supposed to serve that customer without being discriminatory, regardless of what they're wearing, their social status, their age, their marital status, even their sexual orientation. And so when a customer walks in and you think in your head, because that's your perception, that they're improperly dressed, and as a result of that, you're beginning to doubt if they are who they claim they are, there are set rules and processes and procedures that you need to follow just to make sure that you're speaking to the right person. Right. But you cannot refuse somebody the right service. You cannot decide not to be respectful or nice to a customer only because you think they're inappropriately dressed. So first off, what that lady should have done if she doubted who this person was is to ask for an ID card, ask a few security questions. Is the person answering these questions properly? You can ask them for some of the transactions that have actually gone on in their account. Get their signature. And that should be what you use to determine if this person really is who they say they are. And not because they're not appropriately dressed. Because the point is that we don't walk around wanting to impress people. During the day, people work. And so they can be in their work attire, and you need to be smart and assertive as a customer service representative. Anything could have happened. It could have been an emergency. So he might have been working, and then, immediately he needed money, and then he walked into the bank. So it's an unfortunate situation in the sense that you can hear people saying all the time that they get judged based on what they're wearing. No one, and I don't remember in any contract that you signed with a bank or with any other institution where it states that if you're inappropriately dressed, we reserve the right to, serve you with disrespect or serve you inefficiently or be inaccurate in our service. So that shouldn't even come in. But when it comes to you branding yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an influencer, if you're an expert, then you have to start considering how you're selling yourself. Because remember, it's an image you want people to have in their head. It's a perception, it's an idea you want to sow into the heads of people. And so when it comes to that, you really have to make sure that you're understanding your personal brand, how you make people feel, what you want people to know you for, and consistently strive to make sure that that's exactly what people are thinking about you.
Okay, so some very important points you've made. Before I go to the bit about whether you are a social influencer or whatever, maybe even a television presenter, and how you should, keep yourself by way of a brand. This gentleman, the mechanic I spoke to you about, we personally interacted with him, and he's contemplating withdrawing his funds from that specific bank. So it goes back to the point you were making about service. And if you don't deliver the service, that person can withdraw his or her funds from your facility, and your facility will be the worse off because of your failure to be professional. But speaking of branding once more, so I've shared issues to do with people who have had problems with their in-laws because they felt, oh, I'm going to visit my in-law. I'm dressing properly, but it doesn't mean I should be over the top. Only for them to go there and realize, oh, I should have been over the top. Where do we strike the balance? And should we just write some people off as being too fastidious, too much when it comes to their expectations of how we should appear? I mean, where do we strike the balance generally?
Benjamin, I'm laughing at this because I've heard a lot of people, tell stories about, I'm going to meet my in-law. What do you think I should do? Look, the truth is that if you're going to meet an in-law who thinks that the way you dress is what they should judge you on, then there's a problem. That being said, you can't also just walk into a space where you're not known, where your skills are not known, your experience is not known, your attitude, your behavior, your perceptions is known to none of these people, and then you dress anyhow. The way you dress is just the way you will be addressed. And so if you're going to meet your in-laws and you want to seem like a responsible person, you have to dress responsibly. If you want them to think that you're a happy-go-lucky person and you don't care about the way people perceive you, then yes, you can by all means also dress anyhow, because that's just how they're going to perceive you. However, I think there's a big problem with us. I'm not just going to say Ghanaians. I think in most parts of Africa, we judge people too quickly. And it comes back to the mindset and the perceptions that we have as a people. We're so quick with what we see with the eye, and we forget the substance, the skill this person could have, the attitude that they have. Because there are a lot of people who are well-dressed, sitting in expensive cars, sitting in beautiful offices, who have no substance, absolutely nothing. They can't even be nice. The behavior stinks, the character is bad, their perceptions about life is terrible. But they're dressed well. So we need to start checking our mindsets individually. How do you perceive people? Are you the type of person that thinks that if somebody is not in the Range Rover, it means they amount to nothing? Or are you the type of person who says, you know what, when I meet people, I want to get to know them so I can, make a fair judgment about their character. So what's more important to you as an in-law? Is it or is it the look? And I just, on the funny side, if you're going into a home where your looks are more important, you should run away.
If you're going into a home where your looks are more important, you should run away. But on the other end, something else I'll take away, how you dress will determine how you will be addressed. So Absolutely. You have to strike the balance. To wrap up, I'd like you to address this. So something else we see, a lot of people who are the so-called celebrities or stars, I don't believe in all of that, but all of these people in this space, whether it's football, whether it's media, there are some expectations, right? If you find yourself in any of these categories, how should you carry yourself? We see some people go over the top, others too are called, well, a bit unrefined because they don't dress so well. How do you strike the balance? What do you do if you find yourself in that category?
I think you need to ask yourself some vital questions, and it's when someone mentions your name, when someone talks about your business or your brand, what do you want them to be saying? So if, for example, my name is Yvonne McCarthy and I have said that I want to be Africa's customer service thought leader, that is what I want to start working towards. Now, in order for you to see me as Africa's customer service thought leader, I don't have to be dressing excessively. It's got nothing to do with the content I want to put out there. It has a lot to do with my knowledge and my expertise and the type of clientele that I have. And so for the stars or the celebrities, theirs is more of what you see and how they make you feel and how you associate with them. Okay. And so their business is actually their look. Their business is actually what they flaunt. Their business is what they allow you to buy into. So I just want to say this. We see a lot of people, in flashy cars, dressing excessively. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's who they are in real life. That's why it's called branding. You're creating an ideal in someone's head about who you are, what your essence is. But in actual fact, in your home, you might not even be wearing any of those things. So for them, they have a particular goal, and that's their goal. If I want to be one of the top chefs in the world, certainly dressing is not what's going to get me there.
Right.
It means I have to churn out more videos of me cooking. I have to take pictures of me in restaurants. I have to be talking about some of the top chefs in the world. That's where I want to go. So it depends on the path you want to take.
Right.
But when it comes to celebrities and influencers, we gravitate towards what we see. So if they're dressed properly, a footballer has a flashy car, what it makes you think is that this person is successful because they've played football, they've made so much money, they're able to buy this car. But if you see a footballer, maybe on foot in some areas, a guy way like it looks like things are not going well. So again, back to branding, it depends on what you want people to see. But we have to put this in our head. Be careful out there, especially the youth. People are creating what they want you to see. They are creating a world that sometimes doesn't even exist. So they brand themselves so well, you're forced to believe that's what it is. But half of the time,
so we must look out for the reality and not what is out there. But thank you so much for sharing all the insight with us. Yvonne Ohui McCarthy, we're very grateful for your time. She's a brands and, well, customer service expert.